split went out in the cat room, so they're in the house and they don't like it when I have to shut the door. But I can't be there to watch them, so I had to shut the door. So now they're yelling. Okay. All right. I see. I am accepting the request. Thank you guys so much for coming back and joining us again. So many of you were here and are back, and there's Isabel. Yay!
And I hear you at the same place, the same pace on both. So this is great.
Okay.
We are good now.
We are. So pet choking prevention.
So there are many pet choking awareness and prevention days. I don't know that this is the same one that's always been going on. I think this one's newer because National Choking Awareness Day for like pets and people have other days. So this seems like it's new. Bow Wow Labs is great. I did have them on my show. Their episode actually drops this week. So I had her on my show. She's great. She really does. We did speak a lot about choking and just kind of things that pet parents aren't aware of when they're purchasing treats, toys. I mean, their product is specifically for like bully sticks. Their whole line is specifically for safety and prevention, but it's also really fun. So it's not just like this, boring like safety toy. Like, and it's really a great brand because it melds like the fun of it and the safety aspects of it. So the whole story of how they came to be will be on my show this week. It drops Friday, around noon, usually Mountain Time. So stay tuned for that. But I didn't know when I interviewed her that they were partnering with Dr. Judy Morgan on this. This is pretty cool because I'm a pet first aid and CPR instructor. And I taught a lot of pet professionals in Northern Virginia as an instructor. And I taught a lot of parents, mostly professionals came, like groomers and pet sitters and stuff. But I did teach a lot of parents, like mostly our clients at the WAG Pack. And most of them were like really surprised about the conversation about choking because I don't think they realized how common it is.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't think they knew what you would do in that situation, right? Like they were relieved we were talking about it, but it was kind of one of those things like, oh yeah, definitely did not think about that. So that's why I was so excited to talk about this. So they celebrated it June 22nd. I'm assuming it's going to be an annual holiday that's celebrated every 22nd of June, but I guess we'll see because there's not a lot of information on like previous that I can tell, previous holidays. Their website looks fantastic. Choking is scary, preventing it is smart. Be smart about toys, oversight, and chewing safety. And then they have a statistic here. More than 200,000 pet choking incidents occur in the U.S. every year.
I know, I saw that. And this is at nationalpetchokingpreventionday.com is the website they set up for it. And I mean, I saw that and I was like, wow, like I get it, but I never really thought that much about it. I guess because I'm gonna like knock on wood here, I haven't experienced it with any of my pet. Well, I guess the closest I've come to experiencing it is giving my cat Sissy. I gave her like a full freeze-dried chicken heart thinking she would chew it, and she wasn't chewing it. But she got it back up on her own.
Sissy!
And so now the only way my cats get chicken hearts is if I cut them into smaller pieces because it was just too high value, I think. She wasn't waiting to chew it. The other cats will chew it, but I just decided all of them are going to.
Van Gogh chews it. But I've always sliced it in 4. Just because for totally personal reasons, not for choking prevention, but I'm glad that you told me that. Mostly because he likes to jump off of where I feed him and like drag it all over the floor, and it's a raw freeze-dried chicken heart. So I prefer not to have that all over my floor and my rugs. So that's why I cut it. And when I cut it, he leaves it on his plate. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's too heavy for him, too much for him to do at the plate. So he kind of wants room to like drag it around and chew it as he goes. And then the worst thing about that whole situation when he drops it, when he comes down from where he eats, is that Kira will eat it. The dog will take it from him. So that's why I cut them. But I have not had a dog choke on me, knock on wood, but I had a puppy that was displaying signs of choking one day. And we'll talk about the signs of choking real quick.
Yeah.
The biggest one is usually like at when they first start choking, like pawing at the mouth, rubbing the mouth like on the ground, like they're definitely trying to like take something out. There's a lot of hacking that goes on, but the hacking is completely like unproductive in most cases. Obviously, if they are able to hack it up, it's not choking. It's kind of like what we say with kids, like if they're coughing, they're not choking.
Yeah.
If they're coughing, they're still getting air
Yeah.
through the airway. And choking is really when there is no air going through the airway. Like it is, the airway is completely obstructed. That's what choking is. And the reality is choking is a really serious issue for people and pets, animals of all ages, sizes, species. I mentioned last week that I know a person online whose brother was at a restaurant in Vegas having dinner and died from choking on a piece of steak. Like everybody tried, from what I understand, everybody tried to help him. He was in a public place. Rescue was called. By the time they arrived, he was gone. I also have a friend who is a NICU nurse, or no, a labor and delivery nurse, and she shared a couple years ago that she was at like Chick-fil-A or Wendy's or KFC or something, and she had a piece of chicken, and she started to choke on it, and like her family was like, "What are you doing?" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they couldn't
Yeah.
recognize that she was choking and she couldn't tell them, and she was like panicking, and like and so she shared kind of like a PSA being like, choking can happen and choking is silent. So like when you think somebody's choking, don't ask them what's going on with you. Just go into like the Heimlich. Worst case scenario, they weren't choking. Best case scenario, they were and you saved their life. But like apparently she was like punching her stomach to get it out. She was still very like, she's a medical, she's a
Yeah.
medical person. So she was like smart enough to kind of get it out herself. But she was like sharing that her family wasn't very much help at
Yeah.
all. But I did have a dog, Titan, before I knew better. He was like 6 months, 8 months old, and he was chewing on a rawhide. And this is one of the reasons I don't do rawhides, is he had gotten it to just the right size that it got stuck in his palate between his teeth, right?
Yeah.
So what does he start doing? He starts like pawing, dragging his face. Like you could see he's agitated. He's like really, really worked up. And my ex and I were like watching TV. He had just been enjoying his chew. He never chewed anything unsupervised, but it was like our evening routine, right? He was a puppy. He needed something to chew on. This was in 2008. So like we didn't have a lot of like really great options yet. There were probably better options, but the options were limited or super expensive or just not available to me like nearby. And so, we had like the requisite bag of rawhide that nobody knew was so bad, and so, for so many reasons. But he like barely let us look in his mouth. So we tried to see like, oh, like he's choking, and we opened his mouth and we couldn't see anything obstructing the airway. So we were like, oh no, it's like really far back there. And then for some reason, we really could, like we like somehow saw that it was like just this white piece of rawhide stuck between his two teeth, like the two sides of his teeth. So on the inside, up at the top of his palate. And of course, I think he was agitated because I don't think it hurt him. I just think he was agitated because he was like, I can't get it out. Like, it's annoying. Like, it's there. I just had to like put my finger in and like pull it really hard. Thankfully, I was able to get a finger in and pull it out. But again, it didn't go into his airway. It was just in his mouth, at his palate. But obviously, the biggest, most common thing that animals or any kind of pet will chew on is something like a rawhide, something that's hard, that's the right or really wrong size to get stuck in the airway. And with cats, Jess Ayala Rico is asking us what kind of foods cats can choke on. And one of the things that I taught as a pet first aid instructor is that cats don't choke as often. Cats usually get they're more likely to pass it and then have issues with obstructions and like stuff that they do. They're smarter about what they what they ingest. It usually is able to pass. The problem that happens with cats is that what they swallow then becomes an issue, like ribbon or thread or things like that like end up like getting wrapped in their insides and causing a ton of problems. So that's not necessarily, we used to kid around in instructor training that like dogs or cats are smarter than dogs. And for the most part, you'll see that cats are less accident prone than dogs. They make better choices than dogs.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of toys on the market for cats that I think are super risky. And if you don't know any better, you think that they're packaged for cats, they're marketed to cat people, and then you look, and then like with I guess like a more like less trusting eye, which I look at things at like PetSmart and Petco, like really not, like I have no faith in like these like products that are made in China and like just like some sticker is slapped on it for dogs and another one for cats and another one for kids somewhere, and it's the same product and it's made in a factory with all sorts of chemicals and zero safety protocols. But I look at stuff and I'm like, that I would never get that for my cat. So it's like really a size thing in many cases, just like the rawhide that got stuck in my dog's mouth, like pieces of bully sticks, pieces of rawhide, a big piece of bone that they like got off your plate, you know, that they shouldn't be eating. And the thing about dogs is that when they're eating this stuff, kind of like Sissy, is that they'll just like gulp it because they know you're going to take it from them, or it's so high value that that's really what it comes down to. It's like this like perfect equation of size plus desire to eat it equals choking, right? So I've never had to, thankfully, administer any of the things that I learned at Pet First Aid and CPR. I've never had any of my students, because we do ask people like, please let the organization know. Is that your? Yeah, that's yours, not mine, right? Not my house. Is that? I hear dishes. Yes. Okay. No, I'm the only human here, so I'm making sure my cat's not doing dishes downstairs, because that would be a problem. But yeah, I'm certified through Pet Tech, and Pet Tech asks people like, please let us know if ever you use CPR, you use the choking protocol, the bleeding protocols, whatever we teach you, let us know. And of course, they would inform Pet Tech, but Pet Tech would inform me. And I've never had anybody had to use it, but I have had people in my class be like, yeah, my dog choked and eventually got it out. And I do think that that's the most common scenario, is your pet's going to choke and then they're going to personally be able to get it out. And from our perspective as instructors, that's what you do. You let them try to get it out. You don't really mess with it. Sometimes in trying to help, we can actually push it further in and get it further into the airway, which will make it harder for them to get it out. So really what we taught was prevention, and then emergency response. Your pet passed out. Now you're doing you try the Heimlich, you try, like we do CPR. Basically like the compressions are supposed to help without any kind of rescue breathing. You're just like push on the abdomen or on the ribs so that you can try to move it, and you keep opening the mouth to see if it comes out. But the idea is to like push it up and out. But at that point, like you have seconds to get it out because your pet's already unconscious. So we went from like one extreme of prevention to emergency response, and in the middle, it's just let's hope the pet can get it out.
Yeah, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as with, especially with like babies or kids. Like, you don't want to go sticking your finger in there.
Yeah.
You don't, unless you can open the muzzle and actually see it, and like use a tweezer or your fingers to get it out, or like do a sweep with your pinky. You're not going any further than that. Right. Because again, like, you could make it so much worse. You can shove it in there in like your desperation and your fear. You can just shove it in there, which is not at all what you want. And one good thing is to know that if they are choking audibly, it's not that bad. They can still breathe. You may have time to take them to the vet to get things removed. Like we've seen all those things on TikTok where like a dog swallows like a ball, but they're have enough air coming in and out that they're not unconscious, but they're just like, it's like stuck there, and like they have to somehow finagle the ball out, and that is choking because the airway is somewhat obstructed, but it's not fully. And if they can get it out themselves, by all means let them. But if you feel like something's like a ball is stuck where it's going to take maybe like anesthesia to get it out, get in the car and go to your closest emergency vet.
That's so scary.
It is scary. And that's why we're talking about prevention today, because it really is a matter of, I think most people don't know. So completely unrelated, but this weekend on Friday, I asked my husband to go to a florist and get flowers for a friend of ours who lost her father. And so he comes home before me and he puts the flowers. Sympathy flowers often come with lilies. And he leaves them on my dining table where the cat's always around. And I come in and I'm like, the first thing I see is like, lilies in my house, right? My husband has had cats. He's hand-raised kittens. He is, married to me, and he had no idea. He had no idea that lilies could be completely and horribly toxic. And then I'm like, get it out of the house.
Yeah.
And he's like
so
putting it down on the floor while he puts his shoes on. And I'm like, the pollen is the issue. So you're putting the pollen on our floor as you put this basket of flowers, this huge arrangement down. Get it out. I'll hand you your shoes when you're outside. Like, that's how urgent it was for me, just because I don't want to worry that there's like lily pollen all over the house. And I have one cat and he's not a huge cat, so I don't think it would take a lot to make him really sick. But a lot of people don't know, especially when it comes to choking. It's like, I'm telling you, when we had a notebook, a workbook for our class, and when we got to choking protocol, people would be like, choking? Like, did you not think that like anything with an airway can choke? And they hadn't thought about it.
So they have a list on the website of the top choking hazards for dogs and cats, and I wasn't surprised by any of it. For dogs, balls, which you were just talking about, I know Kim is not, she's not a ball kind of, I've never had it. I've always had small dogs. I've never had a dog that was really interested in balls at all. I think I'm sure any dog can be, but
I think it does.
Larger
it's like
dogs.
very breed specific, right? Your retriever is always going to be more interested in a ball than a hound dog, and that's I usually tend to go for like breeds that aren't super ball motivated. And I have Kira, who's a border collie mix and probably lab mix, and she's not into balls at all. What she's into is sticks, which is the second one on the list, and she does chew on them. So she does them. Obviously, she's like enjoying. She's a little anxious, so she enjoys that like crunch of the stick. It's kind of like us sitting down, like mindlessly eating chips, the crunch, crunch, crunch of the chips. That's what I equate it to, because she just sits outside in the sun and she's chewing on the sticks. And obviously, especially if they're getting into like smaller pieces, it could get lodged there. Also with sticks, there's the fear of they could break teeth. So I always like make sure that the sticks she chews, even though that she enjoys it, they're kind of thinner. That I like the thinner sticks. And if I see her chewing a stick that I feel like is a little too much, I'll just take it away and let her find a smaller, more acceptable stick in the yard. Chew toys, and the thing about chew toys is not just the toy, it's also the filling a lot of the time. And people, I just see it all the time. Like if you go to any PetSmart or Petco, the shelves are stocked with crappy toys.
Really crappy toys. And even the ones, so Kim does love squeaky toys.
Yeah.
And she has not for many years. Right when we first got her, she would tear apart toys and pull the squeakers out of them. She hasn't done it for many, many years, but those squeakers,
they're super dangerous.
Really dangerous.
Because a lot of people will be like, my dog can't eat this, right? Like the squeaker's too big, but they'll chew it. So if your dog is big enough, yes, they might swallow the squeaker as it comes out of the toy. But if they're a smaller dog, they'll chew that plastic because again, it's squeaking the whole time, which is like so biologically appropriate and nourishing to their brain and their instincts. But it's so bad because it's plastic. So first of all, they're getting all these chemicals from who knows where,
Mm-hmm.
BPAs, whatever acronyms that we do not want them to take in. And then they're chewing down the plastic until maybe there is a piece that comes off. And of course, at that point, they're going to want to tear, right? They've been
Mm-hmm.
chewing, now they're going into tearing, and that is
Yes.
what can get caught. So don't think it's just the big squeaker
Mm-hmm.
from the inside of a toy. It could be the whole process of from it being intact to it being trash and like just shredded away. No matter what stage it's in, if you find a squeaker, throw it away. Throw it away with the toy that it came out of. Because also what they can choke on is the filling of the toys, that nylon mess. And
Mm-hmm.
this is why I always say, like, I'm in a buy nothing group and I see people being like, I have these stuffies. Does anybody want them for their kids or their dogs? And I'm like, no,
No.
because a lot of stuffies, let's talk about Beanie Babies, are full of stuff that is not meant for canine or feline or child consumption, but children don't chew on things. So they were perfectly fine for
Mm-hmm.
your child. Your child outgrew them. And now you think, oh, I'll just give it to the dog.
Yeah.
But like those beans are not only super toxic, they can be a choking hazard. They can be a bowel obstruction hazard. They can be so many hazards. So one, the toy always has to be of good quality.
Mm-hmm.
Pay the extra money for the really strong toys.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they need to be species appropriate. And I don't care how much you spent on it. The second it's broken, it's trash.
Yeah.
Gotta
Well, and a
trash
lot
it.
of children's stuffed animals have buttons or eyes
Yes,
that are sewn on, and those are choking hazards for dogs because they
for
will
sure.
pull on them.
And
100, I don't
or they
care
won't,
what kind of
or they'll
dog you
just
have.
like, or they'll ingest it and it'll cause an issue on the way out. So
Yeah.
like you
Oh, yeah.
definitely species appropriate, high quality, avoid the stuff made in China, because it's all covered in chemicals and stuff. So like to me it's, I'm like, if your dog is like a chewer and needs something, like let's talk about other options to like meet their chewing needs, which obviously Jessica can give you a million options, because the chew toy itself is such a hazard and it's really just a band-aid for what they really need. Would you say? Would you
Yeah.
agree? Like it's not really fulfilling anything. I mean, it's fun for a while, but that need to like chew and tear really could be met through their food, through their
Through,
diet.
absolutely. That's the best way to do it is with, I mean, my preference is always going to be raw meaty bones. That's the most species appropriate. It's the most beneficial for their teeth. And yeah, they love to chew. It's very natural for them. It's
Mm-hmm.
calming for them. It helps like with anxiety. It helps with when they have a ton of energy and they need to get
Mm-hmm.
that out. So, but you still want to introduce new things slowly. You want to watch them. I would never want somebody to hand a dog a raw meaty bone and just like walk away.
No, you don't
Even
hand a
no,
dog anything and walk
and walk
away for the first
no.
time. Because again, going back to chew toys, depending on how avid of a chewer your dog is, that chew toy could be open,
Yeah,
disemboweled in 5 minutes.
yeah.
So like you went to the bathroom and came back and they've already ingested the squeaky part. So definitely don't, like, if it's something new, always be there, always.
Yes.
Um, well, speaking of diet, right? Like a lot of people would call bully sticks and long-term chews diet. Those are not diet. Those are
No.
the equivalent of gum. Like I would equate them to like us chewing gum. There's no nutritional value. I don't care how much xylitol is in it. It's not gonna keep you from going to the dentist. These bully sticks are not gonna do that either for your dog. As much as it might be labeled as a dental chew, it's not doing any of that. So you might think it's diet, right? It's a snack, it's a treat. It's not. It's the equivalent of a
Yeah.
toy, it's the equivalent of a, what is it? The fidget
Oh yeah,
toys
yeah,
for kids.
yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's like an edible fidget toy, which is, whether or not it's truly edible is
That's
arguable, right?
exactly what I was thinking.
It's
So many
supposed
of
to,
them.
it's packaged as edible, but it shouldn't be. So bully sticks and long-term chews. Long-term chews are like the rawhide that I talked about with my dogs. And you know what's funny? We didn't learn our lesson there. We just went to the vet and got the dental chews that were way bigger after that. So that's what the vet told us to do at that time. Again, it was 2008. and he was very conventional. He was very good. No hate on him, but he was like, just get the next size up. So like if there's a chew that is like for a 40-pound dog, get the one for the 80-pound dog. And that should solve your problem. I mean, thankfully we never had any obstruction issues or choking incidents again, but definitely not the best advice. That's not something I think vets would tell us now.
I hope not.
One would hope.
Who knows though?
And then the last one is food packaging, which is really funny. I don't know if anybody here watches Bravo as much as I do, but there was an incident on a show recently, Vanderpump Rules, where there was a couple who he cheated with a friend of hers, huge. It's called Scandival. This whole thing. I mean, if you've been on the planet in the past year, you've heard about Scandival. CNN even covered it. Well, you don't listen to CNN. I know you don't listen to CNN, but there was a whole conversation about how it was on CNN, and he was like, "I didn't do anything to land on CNN." So anyway, he and she were sharing a house together. She has a dog. The dog was not in her room. She had left some takeout, some skewers, like satay skewers, and like, the packaging that it came in, because she works like a ton, and she's like traveling the world with all these engagements and stuff, and she had like ordered food, fallen asleep, left it there, whatever, walked out the door the next day and closed the door. For whatever reason, he and like the AC tech guy need to come in to check to the room. Of course, the dog smells the leftover chicken satay and the sticks that they were on and goes to town. Like I think somebody closed her in there and like left her in there long enough where she ate through the packaging. She ate the satay sticks, like they're sticks. They are, what are they called? Skewers. Skewers. Yeah. So like pointy things that she ate, she ingested. And when Ariana Maddox got home, she realized her dog had done that and had to rush her dog to the vet. I can't remember how much the bill was, but if you know this story, comment below and let me know. But it was like $5,000, and she was like fighting for her life because of this food packaging she had left. And of course, the conversation becomes like, who do we blame in this situation? But the biggest thing is prevention. Like, I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how early you leave. There shouldn't be any food packaging anywhere in your home that will tempt your dogs. I mean, like a pizza box could become a choking hazard because they'll chew what's left of like the melted cheese on the bottom of the pizza box. It's hard cardboard. It can be so like something is like kind of like minor, right? We think of a pizza box, like no dog's gonna eat that. Like a food motivated dog will eat that. I don't consider Kira super food motivated. Like she is, but not to the point where like my hound dog, my counter surfer was. And Kira will chew like packaging just for the flavor of it. Like if my kids leave, like the bottom of a cupcake, you better believe that my dog's gonna ingest that. So I've told them a million times, like the second you're done with this, like this cupcake wrapper or like anything on a muffin, you throw it straight in the trash, or you at least leave it on your plate because she doesn't counter serve. So any food packaging, anything that smells like food, anything that has food in it, anything that has melted cheese on it, even if there was like a cool breeze that like made the steak like that you were cooking hit this thing, your dog might eat it. So just be really careful with food packaging. I mean, you can't blame them.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I've seen so many posts on social media about food packaging specifically because it is things that it's always something you don't think about, like a chip bag. And they suffocate,
the chip bag.
Right?
The chip bag is so dangerous, like in so many ways. Dogs have asphyxiated because they get into it and they're breathing and it like suctions onto their muzzle and they asphyxiate. Dogs chewing it and eating it. I mean, it's like made of like some thin aluminum weird
like mylar
material.
Yeah, really not good. And I mean, one of the things, and this is I think one of the hardest things to get through to people, even people who are like quote unquote dog people, they don't seem to understand that training is about them and not their pet.
For sure.
Like it's like 95% people training. And that means environmental management And
for sure.
people don't, like, even when you bring it up to them, they're like, no,
No, but
I'm not doing that.
the
Or,
same happens with kids, like where it's like the kid's fault that like they ate the candy that you left out the night before. It's a child. Like you
yeah,
leave candy in front of a child, they're going to eat it. I don't care
right.
how many times you told them not to. And a dog's going to do the same thing. Like it's not about the dog. Like the dog, if you put you could test 5,000 dogs
Yeah,
and put them in a room with a steak, and that steak, I don't care how well that dog is going to eventually, like depending on how long you leave them in there, is going to get eaten.
it
Same with my kids,
absolutely.
not the steak, but the
Yeah.
candy.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't expect a dog, like, they, they see the world differently than we do, and we have to set up our homes in a way that is going to work for us and
Right,
them. And
right.
it's like one of those things that people are like, my dog's chewing my shoes. Well, put your shoes in the closet.
Okay.
And
Oh
they
my
don't want to do
gosh.
it, right?
I'm so happy you said that. Did you see? Okay. I do want to acknowledge I barefoot seven
Yeah.
or L barefoot seven.
Yeah.
Her, I don't know I'm sorry, I don't know your pronouns, but my brother lost his border collie due to it went snout first into a potato chip bag and smothered. Very sad. And actually, it wasn't until a few years ago that I even knew that that was a possibility because it was kind of happening a lot more. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry for your and your brother's loss. Like, that is so traumatic, so unexpected. Most people do not know about that yet. So I'm glad that we're
Mm-hmm.
like touching on it. I actually remember as a professional pet sitter going into a beagle's house. So that, we can always want to like blame the pet parent too, but this beagle had knocked over the trash and gone into it. Why? Because they
Mm-hmm.
had left something smelly in there.
Mm-hmm.
When I got there, I had to pick up like a crime scene of like what smelled like rotting food, groceries, eggs, eggshells, I don't know what
Yeah.
else, chocolate mixed with eggs. It was horrible. I did not enjoy it. The dog, luckily, she ate only the edible stuff because she was a beagle and all she wanted was the truly edible stuff. So like some raw eggshells, she enjoyed them. Maybe it hurt on the way out because she ate a lot of them. She couldn't digest that many at one time, but she did fine. But obviously that family learned that day that having a trash can wasn't enough. They had to have a trash can with some kind of lock on
Mm-hmm.
it and preferably put away from her under a cabinet or in a pantry or something
Mm-hmm.
so that the dog wouldn't be tempted. Because like even if
Yeah.
she knocks it over and like can't open it because of because of the lock, it's still gonna make a mess. She's
Yeah.
gonna dent the trash can and throw it all over the house. So like it's about learning the dog that you have, the drive that they have, and making sure that you appeal to them. And like never again did we have that issue because they like that family, they were impressed with her, her fervor for trash, and they never let it happen again. So
Yeah.
like when you don't know what you don't know, but then when you do know, it's not like, don't leave it up to chance. Like now you know about choking hazards. Now you know about potato chips and things. Now you know that beagles eat trash. I mean, not that you didn't know that. If you have a beagle, you knew
I think
that.
a
But like
beagle will eat anything.
exactly. So like if you share your life with a beagle and you didn't know that, we
They're
have bigger
part
issues.
goat.
Exactly. We have bigger issues. But yeah, I think it's really important to know that like they are scavengers, right? Like we're talking about dogs right now. And
Dogs,
like
yeah.
what does a scavenger do? Like they are opportunists. Like they're going
They
to
are.
find an opportunity and they're going to follow through with it unless you're there to stop them, which is why we say like supervision, right?
Yes.
Always,
Yes.
if your dog is doing something, like it's kind of like kids in many ways, like where you give them a toy and then if they're like, instead of stacking the blocks, they're like throwing them through the window, take the blocks, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not using the toy in the way it was intended. Same with your dog. If your dog is given a toy or food, like is next to food and is like acting crazy, you have guests over, July 4th's coming up, like if you have skewers of fruit that you've made, with a Pinterest recipe and they look all beautiful, don't leave your dog near them. Don't leave your dog near the grilled skewers of meat. Like just prevent and manage the situation so that you're not tempting them with it. Because the second you get, tied up in your like making a cocktail or playing whatever nonsense you're playing on July 4th, like your dog's eating the skewers and the meat and
Yeah.
the aluminum foil,
All
all of
of
that.
it.
So
Yeah.
they might choke and they might also end up with an obstruction and with a puncture and who
Yeah.
knows what else from like one skewer off your grill.
Right. Well, and that reminds me too, it normally doesn't come up unless there's some sort of resource guarding, but I have been in so many homes where people tell me that they have a resource guarder and there are bones everywhere. And I'm like, can we
Yeah,
pick these up?
exactly.
And but that's also a
Of
choking hazard because you don't
course.
know if you have bones everywhere or chew toys everywhere or any sort of chew, and they they have full access to them whenever they want, wherever they want. You don't know what stages these different chews are in, and when they get to a point, you gotta take them away. I mean,
Yeah, you've
they
got to
become a
throw them
choking
in the
hazard.
trash. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that point is different depending on the size of your dog, but once they get there, you gotta
Yeah.
that chew is
I
done.
remember as a professional pet sitter, a lot of people who were crating their dogs were like, can you give them a rawhide when we put them in? I'm like, no,
Mm-mm.
absolutely not. I'm not going to lure your dog into their death trap with like the thing that's going to kill them. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good. Like they can choke even in their crates. They can choke on like bedding
Mm-hmm.
and bed stuffing and their own like harnesses. So we were super careful to be like, I see a lot of bedding. Has your dog ever shown signs of chewing? Because if the second I see a tiny bit of like fluff coming out of that blanket, he's going bare in there. Like there is nothing
Yeah.
coming in there. And like we would always take harnesses off. We even when people were like, "Oh, leave the harness on," I'm like, "Not if he's crated," because they can
Yeah.
start chewing on it, and like that nylon is thick and it's not meant to be ingested. So there's a lot of little ways that we don't realize we're like setting our dogs up for like a really dangerous thing. So if you are crating and you want to give them something like a Kong frozen with something in it is fine because there's nothing really like small that's going to get. But if your dog is so much of a choker that or a chewer that they chew the Kong,
Yeah.
then they don't need anything. Like because there are
Right.
dogs that are
There are.
such heavy chewers that they'll chew through the Kong. I've never had one of those. They would lose interest and fall asleep eventually, but like we would use any kind of like cheese stuffing, like the Cheese Whiz or like peanut butter when it was recommended before we knew better. So all these things we can do, and honestly, you could even just put like frozen beef broth in there, and like you know what I mean, like whatever.
Yeah.
It's like any
Yeah.
kind of cream, something that they'll just lick and relax with, but nothing that they can chew apart, tear, and then choke on. And then what happens? You come home to
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
come home to
Yeah.
taking a pet lifeless out of their crate. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you're not doing it for prevention for your pet's sake, do it for your heart's sake, because I don't know who can recover from that. Like that's such a traumatic and
Mm-hmm.
horrible situation, which I'm sure people have experienced. So my heart goes
Yeah.
out to you.
And I mean, not for nothing. It's not exactly choking, but it popped into my head. I think a lot of companies don't do this anymore, but it used to be blinds, the pull, the cord, they were attached at the end. It was like two strings that were attached. And when I was growing up, my mom's dog got stuck, like, didn't know how to get themselves out of it. And fortunately, she didn't like hang herself because she was on the back of the couch. But like we came home and she was literally stuck. Like
Yeah,
she couldn't move.
she
It
could
was all
have
wrapped around.
she could have
She
absolutely
very
strangled
easily.
herself.
But
And it
even
has happened to kids. That's
mm,
why now they don't do them. And it's
they
not
said,
actually for cats. The window
yeah,
blind cord
that's
is one of the things. So like for me, when I had my kids, I was very nervous. I was very like I had postpartum anxiety super bad, and I was terrified of any blinds anywhere because I saw a video of a little kid literally in his family room with his parents there, his mother, his siblings there, and he got caught and he panicked. So he's like turning
yeah.
around, making it worse, which, if a little kid's doing that,
Oh
pets are going to do that too.
yeah,
And
yeah,
thankfully the mom, like one of the kids noticed, what's he doing? Mom went and untied him and he was like almost passed out. Like that could have ended his life so quickly. And I
yeah,
think this was a long time ago. She was at the time that I had my kid active and like educating people, because again, like until you hear a story like that, you don't think anything of it.
mm-hmm.
And I have blinds actually in this room, and what I've done is I completely pull them up, and that string goes on the
Mm-hmm.
curtain rod, like wrapped. So, and if it ever comes loose, I'm ready to like change these, and I will soon, but I would even like cut that thing and just like leave them up forever. Like, I don't even care, because it's so dangerous. And another thing that they have on these cords is the little bell looking thing at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like dragging on the floor and your pet is bored, they're going to start chewing on that.
Yeah.
And so you have to be careful with your pet having toys that entertain them, that aren't like attached to like a string that could kill them, or like a piece of plastic that can come off of it and then choke them. Speaking of blind cords, string is the first thing. String, ribbon. Around Christmas, like, I did not put any ribbon on any of my gifts. Like, they were wrapped in paper, but that was it. Like, there was nothing else. And if I need to wrap something, I will put like one of those big pom-poms on it that are so 1985. But like, that's all I use here, because I'm really scared. And with little kids, it's really scary, because they are always coming home with like these little see-through strings for like making bracelets and stuff. And like, that's so dangerous, because not only can they choke on them, but they can also like get them all tangled up in their belly if they do get them down successfully. So that kind of stuff is so hard to even prevent.
One thing I learned pretty early on was that when a cat does ingest like a piece of string or something similar to string, even if they do start to pass it and it doesn't come all the way out, never pull on it, because you have no idea how intertwined and tangled it may be in their intestines. I got very lucky when I was young, because I did pull something out of one of my cat's butts when I was like 20. I just didn't know.
I did that for a dog that I was taking care of, and he was like struggling, and I saw that there was something, and it was like a sock this long. I mean, I didn't have to pull it that hard. Yeah. Like, I just like kind of like was like, what is this?
Right.
And it was a sock this long, which actually reminds me of something I saw this weekend on social media. I don't know what veterinary practice shared it, but it was underwear that a dog had eaten, and there were like 3 pair they had to surgically remove. And sometimes it's funny, because as a professional pet sitter, you see things like, you're like, oh my God, this dog ate. I have a mosquito. Sorry, I'm allergic to mosquitoes. How did that mosquito end up here? I don't understand, but it's here. But I had a client whose dog ate, like, this is an over 18 conversation, used condoms from the trash because the person was like not careful. I had another one that ate like thongs. And like, thongs are little, right? And they're usually used thongs or tampons or things like that are very like smelly and disgusting. But like, for them, it's like, ooh, fancy. Like, this is different. And this particular underwear, which is kind of funny, was like granny panties. It was like, the vet's like holding them up, and it's not a string thing. It's like a granny pant. I don't know how big the dog was, but this was not an easy thing to swallow. And I saw at least 3 on like the operating like table. Like, they had like the little table next to the operating table. There was like 3 of them, and they were like obviously ingested, and they were causing obstruction. That's why the dog had to go under. But so how that dog got granny panties through his esophagus, I didn't read. I was like busy, but I didn't read like the breed of the dog, but like, wow. Yeah. And they were intact. He hadn't chewed them. He had just swallowed them whole.
That's crazy.
I'm assuming it's a he. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe a she. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. But it's so scary. But again, it's management. It is environmental management.
Oh my gosh,
it is
for sure.
Keeping these things away from your dog, keeping things, like, if you know, like we were just talking about, if you know your dog is going to get in the trash,
yes,
then that trash can needs to have a lock on it or some sort of closure on it.
Yes.
Put it in the pantry. I get so much pushback from people on that too. I'm like,
and like,
what
the
is
trash
more
can in the
important to you?
bathroom, like, if the trash can in the bathroom is one of those little ones with just like a little baggie, and you have a dog that eats tampons or eats condoms or eats whatever you throw in there, get one that's covered. Like, they sell them at TJ Maxx for $19.99. Like, Home Goods has a ton of options. They're metal, they're great.
Yeah.
And you still may need a lock, because that muzzle is very effective for opening things. So you still may need a lock. So just know that if you have a dog that's motivated, or a cat that's motivated by things, my cat's very he is very food motivated. So he has my husband made food, and thinking that he was doing the right thing, he like left me food, but he put another plate on top of it, like an actual plate on top of it.
Yeah.
And I had gotten home and I was already in the kitchen, but I hadn't eaten yet. And I could see Van Gogh like pushing the plate off. Granted, he didn't, because I could hear it kind of moving.
Yeah.
So I looked over it. But if I hadn't been there, those plates would be on the floor, because he's a cat. He would have thrown everything on the
Yeah.
floor. And he would have eaten whatever was there, because he was into it, like the smell of it. So it's not just dogs. It just depends on the individual for sure. But it's one of those things that like your dog and cat will get into whatever appeals to them. So it's your job to keep them from getting into it. And then, so the next one here is fishing pole type toys, which again, it's any toy, like any toy that's a string, right? So what I do is I actually, because I have little kids that kind of swing the wand toys like there's some kind of crazy, like, I don't know what. So I only give them to my kids to play with, and then I take them back. If you can do that, that's probably the best thing to do. Like I put them in one of the cat condos, but he can't get it out. So like it's in there, he can't get it out. My cat doesn't like to go in places, so he doesn't really go in there. I just have a ton of toys in there, so he can't really reach anything. But you'd have to put it away if your cat is into chewing string, because that is a string, but it's just marketed to cats, but it's a string. And then plastic. Plastic is another suffocation hazard and choking hazard. And my cat will break into my dog food bags. He will chew. He will chew through the dog food bags, the kibble. And so like he enjoys kibble. I'm like, you can't eat dog food. Like, I'm always telling him you can't. So now what do? The second that the Chewy box arrives, I open it, take the Chewy box out, and put the food in my coat closet until I'm ready to open it. Because it can't sit anywhere that the cat has access to it.
Yeah, Sissy also likes to, one of my cats, she's a plastic chewer. There is no, I mean,
what kind of
from
plastic does she chew?
So she will go for grocery bags. She will go for, so like when you buy like a case of canned food and it's covered in plastic, she will go for that.
Ooh.
She even, so in the garage we have the water softener, and so we have the big huge bags of salt pellets or whatever, and she'll chew on those too. So I have those wrapped in a sheet, so she can't get to those.
Got it.
Because I can't move, I mean,
they're heavy.
Put those,
they're
right?
heavy, and you need them near the water softener.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. We have one too, but luckily it's in the garage.
Yeah, they're wrapped in a sheet, so she can't get to them. But I mean, if I leave anything down, she is a plastic chewer. And I've been lucky enough, like I didn't even realize she was doing it with the salt bags at first. But she throws it up, she spits it up, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like hunting everywhere, like what is that? And I finally figured it out, and I'm like, thank God she didn't actually get into the salt, because
yes, exactly. That's another whole other hazard.
Right.
Intoxication much?
Right.
Yeah. So April Brothers 82 says, I agree. My dog will surf my counter for food right after we leave. Absolutely. They're waiting for us to leave. They're like, I'm going to lay low, but they're watching as we move. We're doing our thing. We're getting ready for bed. Like so many times Kira has just like waited when we have people over, and it's just like the other night she took a pizza off a kid's plate, and I'm like, that's your dinner. That's your dinner. You know what I mean? Like you're not having anything else. That's your dinner today. And she's 13, and like I've said before, I want her to eat. I want her to get into stuff. Like she's, she has maybe, let's say I'm lucky and I get another 2 years from her, because I got 15 and a half is the longest I've had a dog live with me or stay with me or stay around. So I'm like, I'll let her have a little something every once in a while, but that's it. Like she doesn't get dinner after that. That's her dinner. So we have to be so careful. And I mean, when it's just pizza, I don't care, because she chews it and she eats it and the kids are laughing. And I'm like, all right, I don't even go try to take it from her, because I do feel like if your dog is in the middle of eating something and you try to take it from them, it's almost worse. So I've learned that unless it's toxic, I'm not fighting her for the pizza, because that crust could become a choking hazard.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm not going after her. And the one thing I do want to, because we have 5 minutes left, is rubber bands and hair ties for cats.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. That
Mm-hmm.
really is common. And this is the thing, and I find this with myself. I'm pretty good at putting up my hair bands and stuff. Like I have hooks in my bathroom. So like if it's not in my hair, it's on one of the hooks. But my daughter really enjoys playing hair salon, she calls it. And my husband keeps buying her little, like the little tiny ones for little hair, for like
Mm-hmm.
braids. And like
Yeah.
they're all over the house. And I have to keep telling mostly the husband, like if you see them, pick them up. Me, like,
Yeah.
you have to keep all of these in the bathroom, like her bathroom, their
Yeah.
bathroom, the kids' bathroom. And I'm like, close the door when you're done with the bathroom. Mostly because I don't really like open doors to bathrooms anyway. Like, I don't know why it's open. Like, there's gross stuff in there. So I'm like, close the door. Like, I can't protect my cat from himself. He jumps on their counter where she has all her hair stuff. And he can, like, literally have a buffet of hair ties if he wanted one. So I try to keep them only in her bathroom, and if I find them, I pick them up and just throw them directly in the trash. Like
Yeah.
there's so many in those little boxes
Yeah.
that I'm like, I'm not trying to save it. I want it straight in the trash so there's no risk for him getting it. If I put it somewhere else, he might get it. If I put it in a pocket, it might fall
Mm-hmm.
out. So like just being really careful. I always think hair ties are tough because it's like something that like you like can take off and like put on. You know, you're watching TV, you take your hair thing off and you just leave it there. Your cat gets on the table and he's eating it. When it comes to like underwear, I always have questions about that. Like, why is your underwear somewhere that your dog can eat it? I don't know. Mine
Yeah.
goes on my body in the hamper.
Right.
I don't have a hamper surfer, I guess.
Yeah.
But also my hampers are from IKEA and they're big and they zip. So like, and my bedroom where I keep my dirty clothes is like the door's closed during the day unless I'm in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there it goes into the washer, and from the washer it gets folded.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a drawer. So like I have a really hard time like being like,
I can only imagine like I I I, I guess some people aren't as tidy as others because I'm like you. I'm like, when would that ever happen? But
a
I
night of
definitely,
passion is the only excuse that I can think of where
yes,
like the dog might have
yes,
been like lingering around and been like, ooh, undies. But like
right.
otherwise, it's like your dogs eat. I mean,
I've,
first of all, congratulations if nights of passion are happening that often. But also just figure out a way to like toss
yeah,
it somewhere that the dog's not eating it.
right. I mean, I have definitely been in homes where I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you live like this? And
Yes.
like, if I have walked into even people that I am related to, their bathrooms, and I'm like, how is this happening? How do you live like this?
Yeah.
But you know, to each their own. Everybody has their
Yeah.
thing that whatever. But if it's
Yeah.
causing problems for your pets, then it needs to be addressed
Yes.
in some way, shape, or form.
And I
And
assure you, there's a system and process we can come up with that will get you to put your undies somewhere that your dog can't get them. So if you are stumped, you're one of these people who like somehow
here's
happens to
the
have
thing.
undies on the floor and you need a tips, by all means, DM us. A
Yeah.
carabiner? What do we do with the carabiner?
To put the hair ties on,
Oh, the carabiner for the hair ties. I
I
thought we were
think.
talking about underwear. I was like, what are we doing with the carabiner in our underwear? I don't know. But yeah, if you have any, like IKEA has very affordable hampers, guys. They zip at the top. They're foldable. So if you live somewhere urban and you need to take like public transportation to and from IKEA, they fold.
Mhm.
I don't have an IKEA here. So I brought 2 huge hampers folded in my suitcase from Spain. So I can tell you from personal experience, I love IKEA. I can tell you and I can't keep up with the laundry here. Like I literally can't. So I have like 4 hampers for everybody. And so just get more hampers, get baskets for your dog, your cat toys that they shouldn't be using. Home Goods again has covered baskets. Your cat's not going to go digging through your covered basket of toys unless there's like tuna fish in there. So
Yeah.
like it's usually pretty safe. There are systems and processes you can get into to prevent. And then one of the biggest things is do check out Bow Wow Labs, because they do have really cool stuff. And
They do.
they talk about size matters, knowing your pet, not leaving your pet unattended.
It does matter, Isabel.
It does matter. We've talked about it before. Size always matters. And take care with multi-species households. Let me tell you, that has been really eye-opening with my husband. My husband has, we've had dogs for so long. And then when we had the kittens, they were so little. And we had them in a room. Like we gave up our master bedroom to like make that the kitty, because we had 5 of them, and we were hand raising them. And you have a lot of accoutrement, and they're climbing the curtains and stuff, and you don't want that around your house. And I had a dog that would eat them, so like we had to keep them contained until they were adopted. So like he hadn't had like a free roaming cat, and for him to like remember that cats can reach that, like you.
They can get,
and now a 6-year-old who's almost as tall as me, he can reach that. Like, I think I may have shared this story, but when I was at the NAPS conference, like I call and like they're screaming in my house, and he's like, they're in trouble because they got onto like some like the stand, and then they got onto the counter in the kitchen, and they went to get their Valentine's candy. I'm like, did you not think kids were gonna do that? Like, I would have done that as a kid, and I'm sure you did that as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, they knew where the candy was. That's why we hide things. So like, you have to know who you're dealing with. Like Kira has never once put her paws on a counter. So like, I could leave a slice of pizza on my kitchen counter and it would be there, except for maybe Van Gogh would lick it when I come back. But like, I can't leave certain things that like that Van Gogh would eat and would make him sick. He's like a fiend for kibble, like dog kibble. So like, I can't leave that out. He loves kibble. He doesn't get kibble. So like, he doesn't get cat kibble. So, you have to be really careful with, remembering that every pet is an individual. And Bow Wow Labs, known for their life-protecting Bow Wow Buddy and its line of safe fit bully sticks. So they make their own bully sticks that are different from the stuff that you probably would find at PetSmart. I don't know that they're in major retailers. I didn't ask about that, to be honest with you, when we talked about it.
I think they are, my local indie pet store, I think, carries their stuff. So if you have like indie pet stores, ask about it.
And they sell all their line online. So the guest that I had from Bow Wow Labs is Jonna Devereaux, and she is their certified clinical pet nutritionist. So it was founded by a veterinarian who had a close call with choking. And then she is their nutritionist, helping them just come out with more lines and more things that fit that need that our pets have without putting them in danger.
So important. Well, I hope this was helpful. This was beneficial. It's definitely something worth talking about and continuing to talk about. Because it is, like you were saying, kind of amazing how many people don't really even think about it at all. And it's like, in the moment when something horrible is happening, what are you going to do? It's not like we can prevent everything, but we can try.
Yes, absolutely. There are things we don't know. Recently I saw, and I'll just say this very quickly, cat people, stay on so you can hear this. There was I shared it on my stories, a young woman saying that she had purchased a pet food storage bin and her cat got stuck in it. And like, she got home, there was blood and sweat, and like he couldn't get out. Thankfully he didn't run out of oxygen and he was able to get out, but like, how traumatizing. And then it's still being sold, and when she went to research it, the reviews say like, my cat got stuck in it. So don't assume that just because something's on the market, it's safe. Stay informed on social media. Obviously, like, I love to follow vets and emergency vet offices and just creators that are more prevention focused, like I am, and they by sharing our stories, we can each learn from each other, so that if I if I have an issue with like a rawhide that gets stuck, I want to share it so that other people know, like, oh, your dog is eating rawhide and something happens, check their palate, right? Something
Yeah.
could be stuck, even though you should, if you have rawhide, please throw it in the trash.
Please.
Even if it says rawhide free, but it looks like rawhide, it's just a different, what is it?
Well,
I can't. It's just the same
chemically
thing with a
treated.
different name.
Yeah, chemically treated rawhide, right? Chemically treated, bleached, and then glue, and it's just
Yeah,
nasty.
all of it.
Just
Even if it's not
nasty.
the hide
Yeah.
of a cow, they're coming up with
Yeah.
something that looks just
Yeah.
like it, functions just like it, and it's just as dangerous as the original. So don't spend your money on that stuff. And if ever you need tips on what to do instead, I'm sure Jessica would be happy to do a little reel for you and give you some tips on nutritious, healthy snacks and chews that you can incorporate into your pet's diet instead of risking it with the stuff that you buy at the store, which, by the way, is super overpriced. Stop throwing your money at that stuff.
Yeah. It's mostly gross. I mean, if you're going to an indie pet store, you're going to have a better
For sure.
chance.
Yeah, when I say pet stores, I mean like.
Yeah. But like the big box
as much
guys,
as I love Target, even their stuff is like garbage.
No.
Like I never go anywhere near the Target pet area.
No.
Like never.
Absolutely
as much as I love, I mean, I did get a litter box there once, which is perfectly fine. But other than that, like I just don't really buy anything from there. So just know that always support your indie pet stores because they have the training and they have the contacts and they're the ones going to find the best, latest, safest, most quality products. And yes, you might pay a little bit more, but you're paying for something that's worth it. The other stuff is just garbage and you're still paying for that. So don't do that.
Right. So, okay, so your episode this week is with Bow Wow Labs, which is
That's
awesome.
right.
I don't remember what. My episode this week is with Bones and Co.
Oh, cool.
Which is not at all on topic, but we're talking about keto diets for dogs, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
And next week it's a holiday week.
It's a holiday week, and I will be somewhere in the southeast, traveling from Louisiana to Florida. So we're definitely not doing any. Yeah, I'm going to be sweating. I'm going to be sweating. I'm trying to, think of it as a detox so that it'll be more appealing. But I'm just going to go sweat for the next 4 weeks in Miami. But we're going to be driving down, so that's where we'll be on Monday. So definitely look forward to what day is the next Monday? Monday.
That's a good question. I am to get my fix. Next Wednesday, I'm going to go live with Crude Carnivore, and we're going to talk about DCM.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait to. I'm probably going to rewatch that. I'll be at the beach, but yes, I cannot
so
wait.
The 8th, we'll do something on
the 8th is our next live, and if you have any requests for what to discuss, we'd be happy to hear them. Yeah. One of the things that's been kind of trending now is that whole insurance thing where 100,000 pet parents got dropped by a certain insurance company. I would love to discuss that. I have not looked into it because it was not my pet insurance company. I only have Bango insured. But I would love to do some research on it, talk about it, let's talk about maybe what makes pet insurance so lucrative for the companies and when it no longer becomes lucrative and how the cost of vet is affecting all this. So I think it's a really good topic, and I would love to pick your brain about that.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent topic, and I think, I don't remember who I talked about this with. I don't use pet insurance. I have
we talked about it on the show.
An alternative that I think might actually work for a lot of people. So
better in most cases,
I mean, not perfect, but what is? So I'd love to talk about it, and I hope you don't sweat to death next week.
Thank you. Well, you'll be in Virginia, so why don't you announce what you're doing there so people can start marking their calendars?
I will be in Virginia, in Williamsburg, the weekend of July 13th and 14th. So the More You Know Pet Wellness Summit is being held in Williamsburg. It is sold out, but I who are the speakers? So uh, Billy Hookman, Angela Ardolino, Dr. Katie Woodley, Karen Becker, and Rodney Habib are all speakers. It's going to be amazing. The day after, on the 14th, they're doing a coffee talk with the BK Pets. So Bryce and Kinsey will be there. Jay and Adrian, the two crazy cat ladies, will be there. And then right after that, Jay and Adrian and I are going to go into the Cat Cove, which is where all the adoptable cats are, and we're going to do a live podcast from there. So that's going to be fun.
So mark your calendars for
That's
the 14th?
The 14th. I haven't even made graphics for it yet, but it should be 11 a.m. Eastern.
All right, 14th. I can do that. I can do that. I will be tuning in from Miami.
Yeah.
So
no, it'll be fun.
And then we'll plan on doing the 15th, so you can tell us all the things you learned.
Yeah, the 15th, I will be heading to my mother's, staying in Virginia still that week, but I'll be at my mom's, so I'll be here, talk to you all about it.
Perfect. All right, and then we will play the rest of the rest of July by ear.
Okay.
And for sure we'll get back on track come August, like 5th, when we're back. But yeah, guys, thank you for tuning in always with us. And again, if you have any topics you want us to cover, please let us know. We hope you have an awesome holiday weekend. Please be careful with those skewers and those barbecues.
Yes.
And just another thing, we talked about fireworks last week. So if you missed that conversation in preparation for July 4th, please check our feeds for that. It was done last Monday. And then one last tip that I would like to share, just because it just popped into my head, is be careful with pets and kids, please, over holiday weekends. Pets and kids don't mix. I have both. I have friends with both. Always find a safe space for your pet where they won't be bothered by the kids. You cannot trust. Even when the parent says, my kid's great with dogs, cats, don't trust them. They're not great. Kids cannot be great. They literally are not ready to be great.
They're not.
With pets. They wouldn't be great making you a fried egg. They wouldn't be great chopping onions. So they're not ready to be, around unfamiliar pets either. Like, there's skills we need to learn before we can do these things. So put your pets away or leave them at home. Except for if your pet is super scared of fireworks, don't leave them at home. Then just don't go to the party with the kids, or don't have kids over.
Yeah.
But yeah, always separate them. I can only imagine the horrible situation that it would be for a dog that's scared of fireworks to be chased around the yard by a child. Like, talk about layering and, trauma, one over the other.
Yeah.
So just keep in mind that pets and kids don't mix, especially when there's other tensions that are high. All right, guys? So stay safe out there. Keep your pets safe and give them hugs for us. But don't actually hug them, okay? I don't like that.
Okay, have a good week, and we will talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.